Hey, college football fans, Kirk Herbstreit here. Whether you're home gating or tailgating this season, score big on Game Day Eats with Eckridge Smoked Sausage. And now you can enter the 2019 Road to the National Championship sweepstakes. You can join me at the College Football Playoff National Championship in Santa Clara, California for a chance to throw to win $1 million. To enter and learn more, visit EckridgeFootball.com. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. Sweepstakes ends 12/20/18. Contest rules online.
Hey guys, Golic here. We want to thank Allstate for teaming up with the Golic and Wingo podcast this season. Allstate is also teaming up with fans across the country to let them know about the magic of mayhem. Mayhem during college football season is inevitable, be it good or bad. Whether it's a backup quarterback leading his team to a second-half comeback in the national championship game or the countless number of rivalries across the country, mayhem will definitely leave its mark. Simply put, mayhem in college football cannot be stopped. Unfortunately, it's not confined to the stadium. Fender benders on the way home, popped tires, cracked windshields, mayhem is everywhere. That's why I'm here to remind you that in those crazy moments off the field, Allstate is here to help. Leave it to me to cover the mayhem in the game, but stick with the experts at Allstate to cover the mayhem off the field. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. For expert advice, call your local agent today.
Back to the grind. But in the full holiday regalia we are now post-Thanksgiving, so it's okay to put up those lights and enjoy all the goodness. Glad you're with us, Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2. Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here with you. As always, you can get in touch with us two ways. 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed.
Twitter.
And who won the weekend is the question we want on a Monday. And, of course, you can also phone in 860-506-5505. We have a huge announcement.
Yes, we
coming
do.
Up in about just a few minutes.
And it was such a great weekend of all sports, whether it was, NBA. By the way, seems like a long time ago now that Duke is not undefeated.
Yeah, how about that?
They're not
right?
going to be the 75-76 Indiana Hoosiers.
That ended quickly.
Yeah, but Gonzaga, congrats out of them.
So much for that discussion. Could they beat the Cavs?
Yeah.
Can't beat the Zags. I don't think
exactly
you're going to beat the Cavs.
Well, now, of course, the Zags can beat the Cavs. So, right.
Duke and
Transitive
Zags,
process.
both greater
There
than
you go.
Cavs. Pretty simple math.
So again, we got a lot to get to, and we have a huge announcement that we think you're going to like a lot because there's a lot to like about what we're going to tell you. We'll get into all of that, but first let's start with a little what's trending. And if you'd followed LeBron's career, you knew this was probably going to happen, and you wonder if the Lakers knew it was going to happen. Down by 2 at home to the Magic, James passed up the opportunity for the shot to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for an open three-pointer to try to win it, and he missed it. And they lost 108-104 to the Magic.
Listen, this is nothing new.
Nope.
As you just said, with LeBron, this is what he does. Everybody says, take the shot, take the shot. Kobe would take the shot. Michael Jordan would take the shot. Yeah, we understand that, but LeBron plays it a little differently. He dishes the ball. I don't have a problem with that. It's the second time they lost to the Magic in a little over a week, and they certainly have been playing better. They're sitting at 11-8 right now, but I don't have an issue with that, with him kicking the ball out at all.
No, sets up nicely for the January meltdown. You got to get the young guys involved so you have someone to get mad at in all of this. And if KCP misses enough of these kind of shots in these situations, as much as I do want to feed in the conspiracy theory, this is what he does, and this is a young team. I heard a lot of people asking that stretch where LeBron was scoring at high outputs, is this going to inhibit, if LeBron takes over too much, the development of some of these young players? He's a guy who's understanding of how much time they have in the regular season, so of course he wants to get these guys involved, because he has to find out on this team now, who can I trust in key moments down the stretch when it gets to the playoffs, or is it going to be like last year where it's basically just me?
Yeah, well, so far, it looks like it's basically just...
And there's some games where he's going to take over, like when they go to Miami and he scores 51, takes 35 shots, that he's just going to say, okay, my night for whatever reasons, that one, going back to Miami and such. But for the most part, you would think he'll want to get the young guys involved.
LeBron, 24.7 assists as the Lakers saw their 3-game winning streak snapped. But again, the process continues. Trust the process, right? Isn't that the phrase?
TTP,
Trust the process, baby. Meanwhile, the process in Philadelphia is working. Jimmy did it again. 8 days after hitting the game-winning three-pointer for his new team, Jimmy Butler hit a shot from nearly the same spot on the floor with just over 2 seconds to play to give the Sixers a 127-125 win over the Nets.
Yeah, Philly trailed Brooklyn by 19 points midway through the third quarter. Since the start of the 2015 season, Butler has 5 game-winning shots with 10 seconds or less remaining. Only Russell Westbrook with 7 has more. It's a team that's 7-3 are the Sixers in their last 10 games. So, you felt this was going to go in the right direction, and add to a pretty stocked Eastern Conference, something we have definitely been talking about, the depth of that conference.
Certainly have, and this is what Jimmy Butler was brought over in part to address.
Yep.
Obviously, leadership and certain edge that he provides to the teams he's on, but fourth quarter production had been an area where the 76ers had certainly not been what they needed to be, and Jimmy Butler was a guy that's always produced well in this area, so this was the exact fit for this jigsaw puzzle piece, and early returns are positive for Philadelphia.
They certainly are. And by the way, since the start of the 2015-16 season, Butler has 5 game-winning shots. You get that already, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just want
to make sure we drive it home.
Yeah, there you go.
Really want. Well, you want me to say it again so you
Shuffling
can tweet
papers.
it too?
No. I just
hit that point home.
Way to save it.
I actually know that time you were busy asking another question.
Correct.
Stanzik. I get that, but yeah.
It is worth noting the difference with this team, too. We know we worried about him coming over and mixing with the young guys, that we forget the makeup of these young guys in Philadelphia seems to be a little different than the ones he left in Minnesota, where there were these personality fits. He wasn't quite sure about the effort. We know Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, these are guys that have certainly been as dedicated to this as anyone. Now, they haven't had to deal with a losing stretch to where maybe that gets called into question.
And what else is amazing, the up in the air of last year's number 1 pick in the NBA draft, Markelle Fultz.
Just go do your thing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He was commenting on Amari Cooper's touchdown celebrations. That was his biggest contribution to the weekend. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard delivered for a 6th double-double for the Raptors. And an unusual first, too. He had 29 and 10 as the Raptors won their 5th straight game beating the Heat. After going 421 games without one, he picked up a technical foul for arguing a non-call on a drive in the third quarter. That's the most inspiring thing or interesting thing about it.
It really is. They had the best record in all the NBA. But the news about Kawhi over the weekend was something that Greg Popovich talked about. He said over the weekend, Kawhi was a great player, but he wasn't a leader or anything. Manu and Patty Mills were the leaders. Kawhi's talent will always be missed, but that leadership wasn't his deal at the time. Kawhi's response to those comments were...
No, actually... Go ahead. You want to say it?
Funny to me. So he said, funny to me. Listen, we weren't there. I don't know what kind of a leader he was or he wasn't. We know he was a quiet guy, but as I've always said, and I know others have said it, you don't have to be a loud, in-your-face guy to be considered a leader. You can lead by example. There are different ways to lead, and I'm sure maybe he thought he was leading in his way, but he is not a vocal guy. It doesn't seem he ever has been, but Greg Popovich has that comment about him, and you figured Kawhi would have a response.
Kawhi Leonard said himself, I go into the gym, I work hard, I lead by example. So we can infer from his own words that that's the kind of leader he perceives himself to be. Much the same way we talked about with Hugh Jackson and Baker Mayfield. This is more telling now to hear this come out of Greg Popovich as a reminder of just how bad it got towards the end of this and the lack of trust that existed on both sides of this towards the end of his time in San Antonio.
Yeah, the fact that Pop feels that way probably should not surprise anybody with the issues, as you said. They thought they were going to have Kawhi a lot earlier than they ever did last year, and it just never materialized because of a significant issue between the two of them. But again, if we never hear anything else from Kawhi again, thank you. I just want to thank
exactly
you.
Right.
More than anything else. Speaking of thanks, let me just say, listeners and viewers, you're welcome. Golic and Wingo has something for you that you are going to like. Let me ask you a simple question. Are you one of college football's biggest fans? Is your fandom so dedicated, so foolproof, so above and beyond, so any called fan that it makes you one of the elite super fans? Well, here is your chance to prove it and earn your way to the national championship game, courtesy of Golic and Wingo.
Yeah, this is what we're doing, gang. We're sending 4 of you, and you get to bring a guest, okay? So you're not coming alone. You get to bring a guest, and here's what you need to do, showing us your fandom. Submit your pitch to us on Twitter, showing us why you are college football's #1 fan, at Twitter, at Golic and Wingo. Your pitch can be a tweet, it can be a photo, or it can be a video. Understand, if you do a video, it has to be 30 seconds or less. All right?
Yeah, we got some feature films for the Pinehurst entries back in the day, which were great.
Were great.
It takes a lot of time to go through those.
Exactly right.
And they were some of the winners.
Yes, and we expect to get a lot of these. So videos, 30 seconds or less. You can do a tweet. You can do a photo. Here you go. You have to be at Golic and Wingo. You have to follow us at Golic and Wingo. When you submit your pitch, you have to use the hashtag GWGW Champ Contest. Again, Golic Wingo, GW Champ Contest, and tag the @Golic handle.
Yep.
So that's what you need to do. You can tweet, photo, or video. Use the hashtag GW Champ Contest and tag it @Golic and they're going to win some pretty good stuff.
They're going to win some pretty good stuff, and what you will be judged on, the metric that your entry will be judged on, obviously, creativity, originality.
Right.
We want it to be extremely petty because, as you know,
The pettiest show in America.
That matters.
That
it
matters.
matters.
Yes, it does.
And in this one, you celebrate your college football fandom. You lean into it. I mean, you see me and my dad right now. For those of you watching on ESPN2, if you're not draped in Notre Dame gear right now, you have a chance to come watch Notre Dame play your favorite team in the national championship. Don't mess it up. So get creative, get petty, and celebrate your college football fandom. Hashtag GW Champ Contest. Tweet it @Golic and what you're going to win is substantial.
Yeah, again, you get a 3-night, 4-day trip for you and a friend. So really, it's 4 winners plus
their guest.
a sidekick, basically.
Right.
So really, we're sending 8 people.
Yeah, you have to choose who you take. Good luck with that battle.
It's like the Pinehurst trip.
That's exactly right.
Which,
Good
by
luck.
the way, we may be doing again.
Okay.
So
One
you
at a
get
time.
round-trip airfare, 3-night hotel stay, meals, game tickets, ESPN VIP tailgating, all that kind of stuff. For official rules, contest rules, go to ESPNradio.com. Again, the contest ends on December 5th, so get those things in now. Go ahead.
Let's go a little more with that. Again, you get 3-night hotel stay, meals, game tickets, ESPN VIP tailgate before the game, access to events on site, including Saturday evenings All-State Party at the Playoff, and Sunday evenings AT&T Playoff Playlist Live, and behind-the-scenes access to ESPN's production. And you know that production is ridiculous, and you're going to be behind the scenes for all of that.
If you've never been to a national championship game, it is one of the more unique environments in all of college football and all of sports, getting to see it in the way that you're going to. That party the night before, I can assure you, is a very good time, and it being out in Santa Clara is only going to add to that good time, so you'll see me there at the very least in that one. The game the next day is going to be a blast, though, so this is something you're absolutely going to want to be a part of. We all of that stuff is great, but we know the best part of every contest around here in Golic and Wingo is picking the accompanying sounder.
That's exactly right. So again, go to ESPNradio.com for the official rules, but we are going to do our rules and pick a sounder for the contest. You guys ready?
Yep.
Here is the first option.
All right,
sort of the college game day kind of thing.
Yeah.
I get it. It's his brand. We're working with the product. It's all right. It's acceptable. It's fine. It's okay.
You probably do better.
All right, here we go. Number 2. That got me a little more.
Comes in a little stronger.
Juice, a little
Yeah,
stronger.
you open up the door, you slam the door
Comes in a
real
little
quick.
stronger.
I like
All right,
it.
strong. We're building. We're building.
Okay.
Here's option number 3.
Football.
Whoa!
Okay.
Nice.
All right,
Whoa!
there you go.
Whoa! Now, already in my mind, I'm thinking, can we work 1 and 2, 2 and 3 together?
Yeah.
Just hit 3 again.
Right?
Hit 3 again.
Hit 3 again. Football.
I'm thinking somehow 2 and 3 together right now might be
Yeah.
where I am in my head.
Okay.
Who's that
All
voice? He sounds hot.
Oh, God.
Trust me. Well, can't. Just can't. All right, here we go. Here's another option.
Get that one out of here.
Yeah,
Still like 3.
I
Still like 3.
I feel insulted.
All right, and here's we have 2 more. How about
Okay.
that? You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Football.
I'm going to say no.
Football.
I only want it if it's Trey narrating that
Yeah.
over the top.
Football.
That might be it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wait, we have a surprise entry.
Oh, we do?
We have one more to choose from.
Option 6.
Option 6. I was told there would be no option 6. Hey!
Ah, it
For
feels
those that may
good.
not remember, that was our World Cup sounder.
It is a football in
Tugs
its own
the
right.
heartstrings.
Let's blend 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So
Or
play truth.
football.
So I need that one up
God.
against the blend of 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That'll be the real deciding
Again,
factor.
here's 2. With this blended in with it.
Football. You can technically
Okay.
hit both of those at the same time, Trey. Try and push both of those at the same
All
time.
right, see if it works.
Football. No, you gotta use your fingers. It's a touchscreen.
Touchscreen. Push them.
Football. Not one
Push
after
them
another.
both at
I
the
did!
same time.
Shut up. I hate all of you. Look, I did this. Here we go. It's not working. And I just moved it now.
Football.
It's not working. Not working.
All right, so we're going to work on that behind the
Yeah.
scenes and maybe not put the technical stuff on Trey's
Run a
plate.
tray
But
like
I like
that.
where we're going. These are good sounders.
Yeah.
Of the sounders we've had so far, this might be my favorite. It's intense. It's guttural
Because it
football.
has your voice in it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll get those back to you later on in the show. But speaking of sounders, ladies and gentlemen, we have something else to do, and let's do it now.
The good,
Chef's kiss.
the bad,
Figure it out, Wingo.
and the ugly.
My nickname was Ugly Gangly.
Sad but true. All right, the good, bad, ugly brought to you by State Farm. Go with the one that's here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE-FARM. And Junior, lead us off with the good.
The good. Guys, this weekend there's a lot of talk about the college football playoff, some of the games that happened and were involved in that, but I want to take you to a game that certainly eliminated one team from even being in the conversation that it probably wasn't in already. LSU.
Way to sell it.
Yeah, I know. Do what I can. LSU faced off against Texas A&M in a game that involved not one, not two, not three,
Not
four, not five, not six, but 7 overtimes to get us to a final score of 74-72. The highest scoring game in FBS history. Was electric down the stretch of this one. And the great part about it was this was a game that near the end, LSU had thought they had won in this situation. So much so that Ed Orgeron got a Gatorade bath. Kellen Mond, the quarterback for Texas A&M, they thought he took a sack during the final play of final stretch of regulation. His knee ended up being down. They thought, he escaped it.
Right.
They thought his knee ended up being down. They had another time to run a play. They made a controversial 4th and 18 conversion.
Yes, they did.
Then get up and manage to complete a pass for a touchdown and send us on this whirlwind overtime tour from hell.
It was amazing in that game, and I'm not a fan of the overtimes, but it certainly was exciting. I get it, but I'm not a fan of the overtime. But think about those 3 plays where Kelly Mond ends up being down. They give Ed Orgeron the Gatorade bath. Then it's a 4th and 18, and the spot looked a little favorable, didn't it, Mike, on the 4th and 18?
Yeah, a lot of people with questions.
And
about
then
that
before
one.
the last play, there were all zeros on the clock. They put 1 second back on the clock, and that's when Texas A&M throws the touchdown to tie it up. It was 31-31, I believe it was, at the end of regulation. And then they won 43-41 in the others. There were 5 other games that were 7 overtimes. By the way, I was part of one of them. November 3rd, 2001, myself, Dave Barnett, and Bill Curry, when we were calling games, Arkansas and Ole Miss, 58-56 was a 7 overtime game.
It's so funny when you said I was part of one of them. Like, I don't think the college rules went back that far,
No.
Mike.
As an announcer,
as
an announcer, but it was very exciting. The way that one ended, even though, as I said, I'm not a fan of the rules, but boy, oh boy, you can't beat the high scoring of that one, huh?
No. But by the way, you could make a compelling argument that thing, depending on your perspective, could have been the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, it could have been
I mean,
all
it could
of
have been the
them.
entire thing.
There were some fisticuffs after
Yeah.
that game
Yeah,
as
there
well
was.
that we
Yep.
could have got to. But by the
Yeah.
way, Des Bryant agrees with me. NFL overtime should be the same way. Just my opinion.
Yeah,
Love college overtime.
I don't agree.
I'm not a huge fan.
It's exciting, but it stops being football.
Correct. Well, it's like the shootout
Yeah.
or PKs in soccer. I mean, it's sort of the same
Which, by
thing.
the way, the World Cup made me kind of like those as well. So, I may be turning on this one.
I missed the World Cup sounder. Okay, I'm going to go bad. The bad was something that I was looking forward to was the match. It was, first of all, technical problems all the way across the board. BR Live had to give back refunds.
It was fine by me. I didn't have to pay $20 for
Exactly.
that now. Talking about the match, Phil Mickelson,
Tiger Woods. Yeah, I was all in on it from the beginning. It was fun to watch Phil miss that first putt on the birdie. He was down 200K before they even got off the first green and head to the second tee. But there was really only one moment that was really any interesting at all. It was when Tiger looked like he was going to lose the match on the 17th hole in regulation because Phil's in there within 10 feet for a birdie, and somehow Tiger chips it in from off the green, and Phil says, "You've been doing that to me for 20 years." And that was it. And then they had to play the 18th hole twice. And Tiger had a chance to win it second time around, didn't make the birdie putt. Then they go to this manufactured 93-yard hole.
Which they had to do
to
under a light. They were actually hitting onto the putting green. It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It just was not very good. They didn't play particularly well.
No, they didn't. They shot a 69.
They
On a course, they shot a
they-
61 and 60.
They chatted walking up the first fairway sort of uncomfortably and basically never really chatted much again.
When it got tight, suddenly the talking didn't happen.
They made a few bets. Phil ended up on the positive side of $400,000 going to his favorite charity.
Plus $9 million.
But yeah, exactly. But no bets were made from like the 15th hole on because
Correct.
it kind of got real serious. So wasn't the greatest in the world, so I was kind of happy I ended up getting it for free.
Under-delivered, I was hoping for more.
Yeah.
And that leads us to?
That leads us to the ugly. And the ugly was not only Jacksonville and the Bills, the game itself, of what Jacksonville season you could say is ugly, but the fight that ensued out off toward the side of the end zone, over by the wall, right by the fans, between Shaq Lawson and Leonard Fournette. Shaq Lawson shoved one of the Jaguars out of the way. Fournette came in and shoved Lawson. They ended up by the wall by the fans. They ended up fighting. Fournette's helmet came off. They were swinging and throwing punches. They both got thrown out. It went to the tunnel leading up into the corridor where Shaq Lawson was trying to get away from the people holding him back. Imagine if the fight continued there. That would have gotten really ugly, but it was an ugly, ugly situation.
How about this? How about when two players are ejected for fighting, you don't send them to the tunnel at the same time?
Boy, isn't that
seems to be an easy way to avoid what could have been a really bad situation.
Love seeing Leonard Fournette going up to the tunnel with the goon squad, though, man. His goons had goons up in there. I mean, big dudes leading him out into the tunnel, and for good reason, because they saw this coming.
Shaq was still hot trying to get a piece of it.
He was hot. And Leonard Fournette, to his credit, said, this loss, I take full responsibility. We lost the game. We should have won this game. I have to be a professional. You can't have that. He had 95 yards rushing before he was thrown out in the third quarter.
Yeah.
He had 95 yards. So he said, you can't do it. And we'll see what the league has to say about fines and or possibly more suspensions. Normally they don't after that, but we'll see where this goes. It was pretty ugly though, especially when it got close to the stands. I said I was in one game like that when I was in Philly. We played Dallas out of the back of the end zone, right by the stands. Kevin Gogan and Jerome Brown were like squared off like boxers, and beer came down on Jerome. That. I mean, it was right by the stand. That's where it can get ugly. When you get, a drunk fan that gets a little too carried away and too close. These guys yesterday were right by that wall, right by the fans.
Kudos to the fans for it, because that's what I was afraid of watching it. Like, oh my God, this is going to spill in full malice at the Palace situation. It didn't. And let me just say this. The other thing that's ugly, that play that precipitated that fight set up a 1st and goal for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They ended up getting no points out of that.
This kind of encapsulates their season.
1st and goal, false start. Move it back. Then they score a touchdown, call that back because of holding. So now it's 2nd and goal from the 15, sack, missed field goal. Yeah. I mean, that sequence sums up the Jags season more than once. From 3-1 to 7 straight losses. And Jalen Ramsey pointing to the other side on the bill saying, you're trash. Jaguars season is trash.
Yes, it is.
You guys have not figured out how to handle success, and it has come apart at the seams. So that was the good, bad, and the ugly. Coming up, will a Super Bowl contender be without its best player going forward? Plus, we have a quarterback controversy in the Charm City. We'll get to all of that next. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, and ESPN2.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
If you're a smoker, you know switching isn't easy. You've tried vapes and e-cigs. They just didn't deliver the satisfaction you expected. But Juul is different. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a vapor product that actually satisfies. Plus, Juul is simple to use, and there's no cigarette ash and no lingering odor. As a smoker, you expect a certain nicotine experience, right? Juul delivers. Give Juul a try. Check out JUUL.com/sports. Switch and be satisfied. Yes, you can do both. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Just want to throw out there, Mike and Junior, I was in the lab working on the sounder for the contest. I think you're going to be happy.
Oh, yeah, the Golic and Wingo College Football Playoff Contest. You guys
Wow.
tweet at, get in on the most important part of that, the sounder, Trey.
It is the most important part to us. The winning of the tickets might be important to the people
who
entering.
win, yeah.
But for us, we're all about the sounder. Hey, ESPN insider Adam Schefter is with us, giving us a Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. By the way, the commercial when Ralph, what's his name? Not Ralph, breaks the internet, whatever his name is.
Ralph breaks the internet.
Yeah, Ralph breaks the internet.
Yeah.
Very funny. Here's a tweet. Very good.
Like
It's nicely
Thank
done.
you, Trey.
It was nicely done.
Thank you.
What tweets can you tell us first and foremost about Melvin Gordon? I mean, listen, this is a team that has potential aspirations here, and he's the actuator of that offense. What do we know about that knee?
He got leg whipped by Robert Kimdichie yesterday, and not only did he get leg whipped in that game, hurting his knee, but he went into the game with a knee injury, and I think the team was concerned before. The team considered resting him for the game, but Melvin Gordon really wanted to go out and play yesterday. It was important to him because they lost last week. He made a mistake at the end of the game, a mental error where he ran the wrong way and wanted to get back in and redeem himself and play very well early on before he got leg whipped. He suffered what was initially diagnosed as a sprained MCL. So if you're an MCL and you're a running back and your knees were already shaky to begin with right there, I think you're going to miss a couple of weeks here, right? I think it's realistic to think that he's going to miss some time. And when he comes back, I don't know, 2-3 weeks down the line, they're going to have to rely on Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, who they like from Northwestern. So those two running backs, I think, will have an expanded role here in the short term for the Chargers, whether that's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We'll see, but I would expect Gordon to miss some short period of time.
How about for the Bears, who have won 5 in a row, including on Thanksgiving against Detroit with their backup quarterback, Chase Daniel, as far as Mitch Trubisky being ready this Sunday with the shoulder issue?
The way that was described to me is that Mitchell Trubisky's hopeful to play on Sunday. He thinks it's possible to play on Sunday, but it is not certain that he's going to play on Sunday. So I think it's the kind of thing where last week initially, they were pretty comfortable. They thought he had a chance to play on Thursday, and he woke up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and it got worse. It didn't feel as good. It went the other way, and I think they want to see how it goes this week. Look, if they have to go to Chase Daniel, they know that he can be effective and win a game against the Giants. They want to make sure that their young quarterback is healthy. They won't rush him along. Again, I would say that for Sunday, Trubisky is iffy right now, right? And they'll see how the week develops.
Talking to ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter with us in studio right now. And yeah, you win one game with Chase Daniel. I certainly don't want to make a habit of that, but his health first and foremost in a lot of this. What about, we heard coming back from the break there, Joe Flacco in that situation in Baltimore, the second start for Lamar Jackson so far, but the status for their starter in Joe Flacco.
That's very interesting because I think Flacco has a real chance to be ready this week. And so John Harbaugh has a decision to make. Does he go back to the veteran or does he stick with the rookie? Now, a couple things here. Back-to-back road games at Kansas City, at Atlanta, or is at Atlanta, at Kansas City? Those are the two upcoming games.
Atlanta's first.
At Atlanta, at Kansas City. And so, do you want your rookie quarterback going on the road in a tough venue, or do you want your veteran there? Now, the other thing is, at the end of the game there, Lamar Jackson grabbed his hamstring on a run where you could tell that he aggravated or suffered a hamstring injury. And whatever it is he going to be able to operate at full strength on Sunday in Atlanta? And maybe that is a part of this decision as well. And you know what? The other thing is maybe you go to Flacco and maybe you just keep using Jackson the way they had been, and maybe you sprinkle him in just a little bit more. But that's a big decision that John Harbaugh has to make later on this week about which quarterback he's going to start as the Ravens try to get their postseason push going here.
Adam Schefter with us. And by the way, download and subscribe to the Adam Schefter podcast on the ESPN app and Apple Podcasts. But again, if you have Lamar and the things all he can do with that hamstring, to me, I would not, because that's what makes him sort of unique right now. I mean, the passing is getting there, but his ability to run and be on the field in other ways, maybe with that hamstring.
Big difference, though, which I was happy of. In that first game, 26 rushes. In this game, 11.
Yeah.
So
well, listen,
this
26 rushes is not
going to happen. You're not going to be around a long time to do that.
It benefits them even if you go back to the package, because now you've got on tape more of him throwing, more comfort that you can add to what's already been a pretty interesting role for him.
All right, Adam, we've been talking a lot about that Jacksonville-Buffalo game. First of all, that sequence after the scrum sums up the Jags
Lawson is still yelling right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's still trying to get it at Leonard Fournette. But, I mean, that sequence just sort of summed up Jacksonville's season. First and goal for the one, they get no points. I mean, they just went backwards the entire way. They've gone backwards after that 3-1 start. They've lost 7 straight. But as for what happened, the fracas on the field that we were afraid because it was so close to the stands that it might spill into that, which thankfully it didn't. What do you think the league reaction is going to be?
Well, obviously there'll be fines. A lot of fines issued to the Human Charity Fund that will be benefiting from that this week. Now, the question is whether the league takes any additional action. And my immediate guess, and I emphasize guess, Trey, is that the league doesn't, that these guys were thrown out of the game yesterday, Fournette and Shaq Lawson, and they'll be fined as well this week. But it was more than your usual scrum.
Yes, it was.
It did last longer than your usual interaction like that. And I think everybody's very fortunate, to your point, that it didn't spill into the stands, that the fans didn't become involved. But that went on and on and on. Like, these guys were going at each other in the tunnel. They had to restrain each other. And it was funny because at one point they were walking up the tunnel. They walked them up together.
That's my point,
like,
right?
What are you doing?
Can we avoid that? Can we just say go in separately so they're not going at the same time?
That was so bizarre how that happened.
Made absolutely no
and
sense
so,
whatsoever.
Again, the league will review that. The league reviews everything like that. I would imagine that there'll be some hefty fines handed out. I would guess that there's no additional discipline, but I would guess each player will take a hefty hit in the pocketbook.
So, and then there's the Reuben Foster situation, accused of domestic violence, this time in Tampa on the road, actually gets cut, down there on the road before the game, and you could see that coming once the second time around on this. Is this, what, from the league standpoint, where is it going to go as far as suspension? Does this guy have any future in the NFL?
Well, first of all, it's the same woman that basically accused him of domestic violence in the spring and later recanted those charges. So it's the same one. And it happened at the 49ers team hotel on Saturday night. Like, if this is going on under your own watch in your house, basically, then when can he ever be trusted? And I think the 49ers had talked about the fact that what they're disappointed about is that they really feel like Reuben Foster, as a person, had been maturing and starting to make good decisions and getting control of his life. And then this happens on Saturday night. And it's so unusual. I mean, I don't really remember the last time. I'm sure it has happened where a player gets arrested at the team hotel on the night before a game, spends the night in jail. The team cuts him in the morning. I mean, that's do you ever remember anything like that?
No.
I mean, I can remember certain things happening, at nights before the Super Bowl. Right. That, but never
players
anything
going
like
AWOL,
that.
fire alarms, strange things. But that was a bit unique. Certainly doesn't happen very often, if ever. And the 49ers, I know, had a long, torturous night with a lot of discussions about what they believe was the right way to handle this. And in the end, ultimately, they decided there really was no choice but to move on from a guy that they said they would not support if there were any more instances. And here there was another instance.
Well, I mean, they'd put it out there. If they didn't release him because what they said before, 0 tolerance, we're not going to put up with this before, they would have had no credibility.
Now, you say about his NFL future. Yeah. He goes on waivers today at 4 o'clock Eastern. So any team that wants him and his contract can claim him Tuesday at
still his rookie contract.
Still his rookie contract. I think in a unofficial random survey of a couple of people that I spoke to yesterday, I don't think that they believe that he's going to get claimed. I think that he's going to pass through on waivers. Okay, so then let's assume he doesn't get claimed. What happens to him? My guess is nobody signs him this season.
Yeah.
And my guess is in the off season, somebody gives him a chance and somebody meets with him and gets assurances that he's going to get his life under control, that this issue doesn't become something. Because if there's an issue here, who knows? Maybe the guy goes to jail. We don't know that.
Won't he be dealing with a suspension though at this point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there are a lot of questions that any team taking him on will have to answer. My guess is, like I said, speaking to people I would trust, that he passes through waivers. And then his future basically becomes in limbo, I would say.
All right, real quickly before we run out of time here. Marcus Mariota tonight, Monday Night Football, Titans, Texans, 7-game winning streak on the line for the Texans. Mariota full go because of the injuries?
Yeah, they took him off the injury report. I think it's going to be an emotional night there with the passing of Bob McNair on Friday, the Texans owner. They were bracing for this. They knew that he was in declining health for the last few weeks, and they knew that it was really any time before this happened. And it came Friday night. They play here tonight. I would think that you would get an inspired Houston football team as a tribute to Mr. McNair and his memory.
And I guess they're trying to win their 8th straight game after an 0-3 start. Pretty incredible. All right, Adam, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you, guys. Happy Monday.
Thanks for surviving what happened to Michigan. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, who knew that defensive tackles were so interesting? I mean, I did because I work. Well, no, but I mean, I did. Well, you know what I mean. He's just more. You just go ahead and say things.
Dell's Cyber Week sale for small business is on. Save big with massive deals on office essentials like computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and the latest servers. Even other top brand electronics and accessories are on sale. Plus, get free shipping on everything. Quantities are limited. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find the right tech for your business needs at Cyber Week prices. Just call 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/SB Cyber Week. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
Well, I actually didn't do what I was supposed to do, but it ended up working out pretty well.
Roethlisberger takes the snap, runs into Connor, throws it over the middle, and it is intercepted! And the Broncos may have put it away!
And it's just like, wow, that's the game.
Felt like, we beat ourselves.
Of all the interceptions I've thrown, it's one of the most fluky I've ever been associated with.
Man, it hurts us a lot. It's going to be a quiet plane ride home.
Steelers doing an awful lot to try and discredit my boy Shelby Harris. Not going to let that happen.
Nope.
Not anytime soon. Not here. Golic and Wingo brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Get your quote at Progressive.com today.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio, ESPN2. We talked about this a lot in the first hour, and if you weren't listening then, we want to reintroduce America to our new favorite football player, and that would be Broncos defensive lineman Shelby Harris. For those that didn't watch the game or didn't stay up or had other things to do on a very busy holiday weekend, people coming in out of the house, travel plans, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There was a point in the game last night between the Broncos and the Steelers, 24-17, Denver on top, clinging to that 7-point lead. Ben and company had brought them down inside the 5-yard line. It was a 3rd and goal play. They need a touchdown and the extra point to tie the game. Ben drops back, throws the ball over the middle, thinks he's got one-on-one coverage, Antonio Brown on Bradley Roby, and out of nowhere, Shelby Harris, the nose tackle on the play, comes up and makes the play. Although, when we say he makes the play, I think he sort of fell into the play.
No. He's a guy who realized the position he was in on the field and where he could best help his defense. And that was to back off because he read the eyes of the quarterback. That's what talented athletes do and versatile athletes do. Say, okay, I'm not going to get to the quarterback. It's going to be a quick pass. Let me read his eyes and drop back or get pushed back by the offensive lineman into the area where the ball is being thrown. He literally, I'm trying to make a case for him because this does happen. This is how I got 3 interceptions as an interior lineman. By zone blitzing, you just hold a lineman and then you back off into coverage and the quarterback doesn't expect you to be there. Well, unfortunately, Shelby kind of got blocked there, and the ball ended up right in his hands, and he was athlete enough to catch it.
Yeah. Again, here's Ben Roethlisberger asked about the interception, and I'll give him credit for being honest.
Ben, did you not see 96? Is that what you're saying? On the last one? Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, he's not dropping. He got blocked. He got blocked right into the play, so there's no way to ever think that guy's going to make that play. And of all the interceptions I've thrown, that's one of the most fluky I've ever been associated with.
It was a little crazy, and it was an RPO. It was a run-pass option. Todd Davis was there to meet Connor in the hole, so I think Ben made the right play of pulling the ball out.
Bobbled snap, too.
Yes. Kind of again, the Steelers in these late-game yardage, goal-to-go situations, always very uneasy.
It was a sloppy game for them, too. Yeah. James Conner to fumble early on.
Just flew out of his arms.
It's some overall not tight play from the Steelers. But on this one, listen, if Shelby didn't get this pick, Bradley Roby was going to make that one easily. You know what I like in this too? You see wide receivers do this all the time. They'll do that drill where they'll have something in front of them and they'll reach out and they'll catch behind it to try and simulate having to make a contested catch. This was a contested catch. He had to make this with Marquise Pouncey in his face, trying to push him backwards. As far as I'm concerned,
which he did,
the degree of difficulty is much higher on this than some sort of zone drop interception.
I'm saying what athletes make an interception. athletes making plays.
Yeah, what athletes in space. That's what you got. We talk about with Jeff Saturday, an offensive lineman on primetime. Golic and Wingo talking about it with defensive linemen. Really, all this is a preamble to the glorious sound we got from Shelby Harris. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say, America, you're welcome.
Well, I actually didn't do what I was supposed to do, but it ended up working out pretty well. During the play, honestly, I didn't know what he was trying to do. It looked like it was supposed to be a run, and he decided to pull it and just throw it. Like everyone does the RPO thing now. But honestly, I just saw him try to float it up there and just caught it. And I was like, should I ever try to return it? No, I'm a little too tired for that. So I just dropped to the ground and just laid there. But when I was laying there, I didn't even think about it because I knew how much time was on the clock, but at the moment you don't really think about it. And it's just like, wow, that's the game.
So we are full on the Shelby Harris bandwagon at this point. We are all in.
The versatility of should I return it, should I not? I mean, the wherewithal, the split decision making by this, again, fourth-year player out of Illinois State, originally drafted in the 7th round by the Oakland Raiders, becoming a star. And, oh, by the way, in this game, 2 linemen making plays in the end zone. Harris making that interception in the end zone, and Alejandro Villanueva had a touchdown catch. The big 6'9", 320-pound offensive tackle,
the former wide receiver at Army,
former Army Ranger.
Exactly right.
Well, he played wideout at Army. He used to split his 6'10" behind out there and just throw jump balls.
He caught a touchdown pass. So you got to love when the athletes are making plays, right?
The big winner in all of this, though, might be the New England Patriots, because right now they're now ahead of the Steelers for that elusive first-round bye, which is going to be critical. We feel like the Chiefs are going to get one. Right.